Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Williams here. I'll be talking to you today about my research project. I chose the topic of the Battle of Saratoga, 1777. My preliminary thesis statement is one of the most critical battles in the American Revolutionary War. The Battle of Saratoga turned the tide of the war for the Americans. The defeat of General Burgoyne at Saratoga paved the way for the French to recognize the legitimacy of the American Revolution and to pledge much needed financial and military support to the American cause. For the actual project, the research is going to focus on the military strategies of both the British and the American forces prior and up to the Battle of Saratoga. I'm going to look at the prominent military leaders of both sides. I'm going to look at the battles themselves because there were several battles that are included in the overall Battle of Saratoga. And the impact of the surrender of General Burgoyne's British forces. So, the Battle of Saratoga is largely considered to be the turning point of the war, and there's plenty of reasons why. But the most important was that it convinced France to openly recognize the independence of the United States and join it in a commercial and military alliance against Great Britain. So the recognition of American independence by France, which at the time was one of the largest world powers, it gave necessary legitimacy to the self-proclaimed United States. That recognition provided French soldiers money, credit, and material to the patriot cause, all of which combined to bring about the decisive battlefield victory at Yorktown in 1781. For the Battle of Saratoga itself, Michael Gabriel wrote an article, and it's just a brief overview of the battle. So I'm going to run through that with the British. Essentially, John Burgoyne had a plan. He was going to move his army south from Canada and meet two other armies at Albany. Okay, so Burgoyne was going to march down south, and two armies were going to meet up with him. And the problem with this plan was that communication in the British side was not great. General Howe in New York had his own plan to move down to Philadelphia during the same time, and the other army essentially is not going to be able to make it. So in 1777, in September, as General Burgoyne is moving south, he's able to capture Fort Ticonderoga while sustaining losses, and he continues to move down south. And this is where General Horatio Gates of the Northern Department of the Continental Army, they're going to block Burgoyne's advance near a place called Bemis Heights. The first decisive action at Saratoga was at Freeman's Farm, and this is where American riflemen and light infantry were able to prevent the British Army from advancing and using all of their artillery. Daniel Morgan is going to lead the riflemen, and an aspect of that is that the Native American forces on the British side, upon hearing of Daniel Morgan joining the Northern Department of the Army, they're going to scatter. Right? And the Native American forces of the British were essentially used as scouts, which is kind of a big deal when they're moving into enemy territory. Right? So after Freeman's Farm, after Freeman's Farm, another battle took place at Bemis Heights. And again, Burgoyne is going to advance his army, but the Americans are trenched in pretty well. They've built some fortifications, and General Gates has been able to get some reinforcements, mostly militia, but these reinforcements played a pivotal role at Saratoga. Burgoyne was not able to secure reinforcements, so every loss really affected him, while every American loss, they were kind of able to replenish that. Essentially, after the failed attack at Bemis Heights, the British were hurt. They had to deal with wounded. They were they lack supplies, medicine, and so um, the British are going to retreat closer to the actual town of Saratoga. And this is where they're going to get surrounded, and the Americans will win the battle when Burgoyne has to surrender his entire army to General Gates. Now, nobody, not one man really deserves the credit of the victory, but General Gates is going to end up getting that success, and he does so through some pretty shifty maneuvering, sending letters to George Washington and to Congress, essentially saying like, "Hey, I won this battle," and that's going to force a divide between him and Benedict Arnold, which eventually we all know Benedict Arnold will turn to the British side. Um, so that's my overview of my project. I look forward to finishing it and presenting it to you guys. Thank you.